Hello, everyone. I present to your attention the next series of history from the vastness of Reddit. After you listen to this episode, subscribe to the channel. I will be very glad for your support. And now, let's get to the episode. I didn't sleep Airbnb because I thought I might get murdered. Typo in the headline. Sorry. Don't take this too seriously. I'm sure there's a logical explanation for this, but I'm glad I didn't take the chance. Super creepy nevertheless. About 2 weeks ago, I booked an Airbnb in another country. I was going there for a concert. The room was cheap, so I knew I wasn't going to stay in a 5-star hotel. But it was only for one night. So I didn't mind as long as I had a bed. To start off, it already wasn't a great trip, because my data roaming apparently didn't work in that country at all. I logged into a cafe Wi-Fi and planned my route in advance as best as I could. Managed to be at the house in time, rang the only bell, and waited. Nobody came out. I repeatedly rang and waited for 5 minutes. I noticed the door had a slot for mail and looked through it. I was shocked to see an entrance that looked like an abandoned barn. A super dusty couch right in front of the door. Pieces of furniture covered in cloth. Very dirty and extremely old. I usually love old houses, but that just did not look like a house that was in use, or prepared for guests, at all. I wondered if I was at the wrong house, and what to do now, as a super old, unwashed looking guy walked towards the door from the street. I asked him if he knew where the Airbnb was. He mumbled something which I interpreted as positive, so I asked him if he was Tim, my host. He said yes, and opened the door for me. Well, I already described the entrance. The centerpiece was definitely the super old creaky staircase that led to the upper part of the house. I followed him upstairs. He was heaving and coughing and stinking of cigarettes, which wasn't exactly pleasant, but alright. The second floor was also abandoned looking, super dark, with clustered furniture hung with cloth and randomly thrown together, and a super creepy curtain that I couldn't catch a glimpse behind. Another stair up, and we were in my hallway, which was honestly the worst one. Cracks in the walls, old rural paintings and crosses hung up next to them. It seriously looked like the set of a horror movie. I usually don't have problem with decor like that. I'm a goth, so anything darkly inclined is my jam, but everything looked so badly taken care of. So I got major creepo vibes from this house. He showed me the bathroom, which had a huge hole missing in the bathtub tiling and the wall. Everything looked super dirty. He showed me to my bedroom, which was honestly okay. There were just a lot of creepy dolls on the shelves that threw me off, but the bed seemed fine. I asked him if they had Wi-Fi, and he said no, which sucked. I really hoped they would have, because that meant I would have no way to communicate in there. I also asked him when checkout was the next day. He said, "It doesn't matter." Okay? He then dragged himself up to the 4th story, which was in complete pitch black darkness BTW, so that gave me very weird vibes. I defiantly didn't want to get into this shower, so I just quickly changed and charged my phone. When I went to the bathroom, I realized that I didn't even notice the creepiest part. There were no locks. At all. Not for the bathroom, not for the toilet, and not for my room, which freaked me the fuck out. I also noticed that there were so many half-used items that someone, looked like the guests before me, had left there, like shower gels, toothbrushes, and toothpaste. A random lash curler just lay abandoned on the shelf. Not like a, here you go, for your use in case you forgot yours way, but it just looked like someone left it and nobody bothered to clean it away. I already made up my mind that I would definitely not stay the night in this house. My mind was just spinning scenarios. What if all these products were left by the people before me? And why did nobody leave horrendous reviews? Because they got murdered? LMAO. I was super spooked. I seriously debated if I should take all my shit to the concert, because it did not feel safe in the slightest, but my back was really hurting from my heavy backpack. So I just took my essentials and left the room as soon as I could. Not without sliding a folded paper under the door, so I'd see if someone tried to open it in my absence. When I was coming down the staircase, I heard someone turning a key in the front door. I was a bit confused, but in the advert, it said that a couple lived there, so I expected to see the girlfriend of the guy I already met. Instead, a middle-aged man enters and says, "Hey, I'm Tim." All I could think of, then who the fuck is the other guy? I was shitting myself inside, but had brief small talk with him and finally left the house. I was shook. Luckily, I made it in time to the venue, and the concert was worth it. Afterwards, I was so tired that I knew I couldn't stay awake for the whole night, so I checked into a hostel. That was also not perfectly clean, but at least they had Wi-Fi, a proper shower, and door had a fucking lock. The next day, I got thrown out at 10 a.m., so I made my way to get the rest of my stuff. IDKY, but I checked the mail slot again, and jumped back. The old guy was just snoring on the couch directly in front of the entrance door. I tried my best not to wake him up and sneaked into my room to get my shit. The door hadn't been opened, thank God, and I finally left this godforsaken place. I don't know if I overreacted, but honestly, from the 2 Tims to the missing locks and a checkout that didn't matter. If I assumed the worst, this would have been the perfect setup to assault or murder someone. Best case scenario, nothing would have happened, but I probably would have had panic attacks all night. Usually I love solo traveling, but this was just too much. My aunt's upper unit. My aunt owns a duplex. She lives in the downstairs unit, and for years, she rented out the upstairs. At one point, she had a tenant, an older woman with several health issues, who had been living there for quite a while. The woman was quiet, mostly kept to herself, and with her often in and out of the hospital, long absences weren't unusual. So when things got quiet up there, my aunt didn't really think twice at first. One day, my aunt was on the phone with my mom when she mentioned something strange. She said a terrible smell had started creeping down the stairs that led to the upper unit. Those stairs went from the upstairs kitchen down to the back exit door and also a secondary entrance to my aunt's home. She hadn't heard the tenant moving around upstairs in a few days, so she figured maybe the woman had gone back to the hospital and left food out, meat or something, that had gone bad. My mom, younger and a little morbid, half-jokingly said, "What if she died up there and that's what you're smelling?" My aunt was totally grossed out and told her not to say such things. But as they continued talking, my aunt couldn't shake the thought. After a moment, she asked, more serious now, "What if she really is dead up there?" My mom suggested my aunt call 911 and report a strange smell in the house. Maybe say it could be a gas leak. That way, the fire department would be obligated to check it out. My aunt agreed, and they ended the call, both still assuming it was probably just spoiled food. Less than an hour later, my aunt called back, hysterical. The fire department had come, went into the upstairs unit, and found the tenant dead. She had passed away days earlier. The awful smell? It was her decomposing body. My mom did not believe her at first. She thought she must be joking. The woman couldn't actually have been dead for days right upstairs from my aunt. But she was not joking. What makes it even eerier is that the previous tenant, my aunt's father-in-law, had also died in that very same upstairs apartment. Since then, my aunt has left the upstairs vacant. She refuses to rent it out again. That's all the stories for today. Thank you very much for listening to the end. Leave your impressions in the comments. And with these 2 hints, you can watch my other videos. See you in the new video.